22nd, 2011. We have a very long-time patient of mine. This is Mr. Skip Miller. He has got a very interesting story, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Skip.
Hi, as Dr. Stinson said, my name is Skip Miller. I've been a patient of Atlas Chiropractic procedures since September of 2002. I contracted what's called Meniere's, which, as doctors tell you, they don't know what causes it, they don't know how to cure it, they just know it's progressive. The progressive part's the inner ear of the affected ear or ears is basically killed to where you become deaf. I got introduced to the Atlas Chiropractic procedures through my second brother, who also has Meniere's, and he's a research patient out of the University of California Davis campus, and his research doctor there sent him to an Atlas chiropractor who's in Auburn, California. And I first went to the Atlas Chiropractic program through a Dr. Greg Wiles, who was located in Fir Crest, Washington. I actually interviewed him for about an hour, along with my oldest son sitting there. And Dr. Wiles, after listening to me and I was talking to him, asked, are you looking for a cure? And I said, no, I understand there's no cure. And he said, well, that's true, and I would have thrown you out of my office if you had said that that's what you wanted. His mother had Meniere's. He was very familiar with it. And pretty much what he told me was that they can't cure it, but they can help to alleviate the symptoms of Meniere's.
And Skip, could you give us what do you feel when you have an attack?
Well, the attack on Meniere's, as I said, it deals with the inner ear, or it messes the inner ear up, and that's where your center for balance and equilibrium is located. And when I get attacks, and the majority of the people with Meniere's, the basic symptoms are all the same. You get pretty much unannounced bouts of vertigo or severe dizziness. If you get the major bouts of vertigo like I did initially, you also have nausea and vomiting, and it takes for generally, like the first time I had mine, it was like 2 in the morning when I was at work, and they weren't able to steady me down using medications until about 8 in the morning. So during that whole time, you're basically spinning in your head. It's one of the few times that doctors are right when they say it's all in your head. But your balance, your equilibrium are important to you for walking and standing up or bending over, standing back up from bending over. And once that's compromised, then you're in a real hurting situation. My profession was law enforcement in corrections, and when I wound up having to be medically retired in September 2002, at my request, I told them I didn't want to place any of my staff or other officers in harm's way by worrying more about me than some out of control prisoner. And the symptoms, you can feel it a lot of times coming on. I've had people ask me how I'm able to drive with it, and I said because I can actually feel if I'm going to, like I'm getting dizzy or anything, and I pull over to the side of the road. And thankfully only one time since I initially got discovered with this stuff that I've actually had to do that. I was in parking lots 2 different times and just called my wife, says, okay, you need to get someone to come with you so one can drive the car back and I can ride with someone. But I knew when it was coming, and as I said, the basic symptoms of everybody with Meniere's is pretty much the same, and then other people will get other kinds of symptoms, and that is what really throws them a curve on how to figure out what Meniere's actually is. Because they don't know what causes it. To be diagnosed with Meniere's, you have to be seen by an ENT specialist and a neurologist, because some people believe it's strictly the inner ear system, others think it's something neurological. There is a school of thought that Meniere's is actually part of the MS field or thing, you know.
So when you were having these attacks, how often would you have these attacks?
Well, initially, and this is prior to seeing chiropractic services, I was getting them every day. Not real severe like the first time, but I would get them maybe 4 or 5, 10 seconds. I could feel myself getting dizzy, and that lasted probably about 2.5 years. That was kind of a here we go, you know, one of those things. When we decided to move from Washington State to Kentucky, one of the reasons was because for me personally, low pressure definitely affects me. I can feel the pressure changes, and you know, the best way to describe it is you get an attack and you basically just want to be in bed. It's about the same if you've ever seen somebody with a grand mal seizure where they just want to sleep because the body has to, it's expended so much energy that the body just has to rest. So that's pretty much what I do, and my brother David told me he does the same. Starting out with Dr. Wiles and having my neck adjusted on the atlas bone, the symptoms were definitely lessened up. I had less bouts of minor type dizziness. When we moved out here, I first saw Dr. James Miller, down in Corbin, and then I was checking on the Meniere, on the Atlas Chiropractor website, and this guy here shows up out of the blue all of a sudden. I said, where'd he come from? So I made contact with his office and got an appointment and came in. And
so when your atlas is when your atlas is in adjustment, symptomatically, how do you feel?
I feel okay, where I can actually do things. I was just in Virginia assisting my sister and my mother, and had maybe a 30 to 45 second vertigo attack, and like I told the good doctor here when I came in, one of my first things coming back from Virginia was to get an appointment with him to get adjusted, because I knew when that happened my neck had to be out of location, because it generally shows that it is, and that's what he found today. And I would strongly recommend, which I do to people that I meet that tell me they know of Meniere's or they have a family member, to get to an Atlas chiropractor. And again, like I tell them, they won't cure it, and they can't tell you what causes it, but they can definitely help to alleviate some of the symptoms, and you can live with that more than what you have otherwise. So I would say that this gentleman here, being the only Atlas chiropractor in Lexington, is a good bet and a safe bet for somebody to come and see him.
Well, Skip, I appreciate you being on our video.